Hello, I'm Stephanie Case, student number SO232616, and this is my submission for Assessment 3. Today, I thought we'd apply the legal research skills learnt in this LAWS course to the process of accounting legal research. So I've developed a brief for the assessment, which is basically that you're a graduate and your partner has asked you to go and do some legal research and prepare something for him to explain to clients how Bamford is likely to affect their trusts. We'll look at a number of different resources today. So we're going to look at Westlaw, we're going to look at the ATO legal database, we'll have a quick look at ComLaw and also at Ostly. So I'll just share my screen with you now. We'll head across straight into Westlaw. Now, it should be noticed that when you undertake something like this, probably the best place for you to look would be your tax handbook or one of the professional sites such as the Institute of Chartered Accountants Australia or CPA website. Failing that, or if you're looking for the case itself, do head into Westlaw or LexisNexis, CCH, whoever's got it, and whichever one you prefer. So the first way we're going to look for the case in Westlaw is by clicking on this case in the search bar on the left-hand side there, and by citation. So I do have the citation here with me. Enter that in. And we have our case here. It's also worth noting that there's a little flag out to the side that indicates there is litigation history. The case itself did go through a number of courts and it was appealed by both sides. So if you're preparing this, you probably want to read all the cases and get a good understanding of the effects that it does have on trusts. So we can click onto this. We can either go to First Point or the Commonwealth Law Report or even just the judgment text. I'm going to jump in and have a look at First Point. So as a bit of a basis, the digest is quite good to read. You will start to understand the case and how it relates to your clients if you have a bit of a look through here. You can also pick up some of the provisions that the case relates to and can further look through this at decided documents. So we know which cases came forward, and if you're looking for something else, those might be a good place to start looking. Perhaps you're preparing something for court, so those are the places that you want to have a look, and then related documents as well. So again, got some cases there. We've also got commentary, and as I said, this was a pretty big case, so it did make handbooks and also a couple of journals and bits and pieces like that. So, there's lots of related documents to this case. So if we go back out, we'll try a different way of locating it. Just go into the basic search for this one. We know, because we've been told, that Bamford is one of the parties. The other party, given that it's tax, is likely to be the Commissioner of Taxation. So that's not really going to get us anywhere, but this one party will. So if we type that in with the title, will bring us back to the same case. We can also use some terms if we don't know the case that we're looking for. We could use things like trust distribution or ascertainment of beneficiary income or bits and pieces like that. But because there is a vast amount of tax, you're likely to get a lot of results. And so short of sifting through all of them, you know, it's kind of better to have that pinpoint reference. Right, you know, if you're preparing and you don't need Bamford, then go ahead and use those more generalised terms, but you are going to get quite a lot of results that you can't really narrow down. The next place that I'd like to take you across to is the legal database of the ATO. So here we are on the landing page. We just head across to the legal database up here. And so we can either search directly for Bamford in here, or because we do have that citation, we can also browse. Now, the ATO legal database doesn't have the full text, it just has the judgment summary. So, you know, if you're looking for the full text, Westlaw, CCH, LexisNexis. If you only need the summary judgment, and most likely you will, you can use this database. So 2010, it's all alphabetized, so we can just scroll down until we come across it. And there's our judgment there. Another place I'd like to show you today is ComLaw. So landing page here, and we're going to look up the act that this case is referencing. So we head in, and we know it's the Income Tax Assessment Act. We also know it's the 1936 version from prior research. So if we jump in here, I sort of know exactly where I'm headed, and you know, this is where it gets a little bit funny if you don't know where you're headed using something like this, because you will have to click through and try and find the provision itself. But if we go down, you know, it's provision 97, that's the most referenced in the case. You can find that, jump in and have a bit of a read through there. The other alternative to using something like ComLaw is Ostley. It does come with, you know, some warning. It's not a government website, it's not a paid for subscription. It's not always going to be up to date, and you should never submit anything to their honours that comes out of Ostley. But having said that, you know, it's relatively easy to use. It's a good launch pad for legal research. So I'll show you the legislation again, the Income Tax Assessment Act in here. So we scroll down to legislation, it's a consolidated act. It's up to I, and here we go. It's much easier, I find, to use Ostley in relation to finding these provisions, just because if you do use ComLaw and you don't know exactly what part you're looking for, you will have to click through looking for that provision. So because it's all listed out like this in Ostley, you can just sort of scroll down, find it, and there it is again. So just bring you back to me. I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time to apply legal research, not to straight law, but to tax. and it is beneficial to learn for tax. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.